Feeling fine is usually taken as proof that nothing is wrong, especially after 35. No pain, no diagnosis, nothing obviously broken. But fine is often the body adapting, not the problem going away. So most people stop paying attention. Earlier in life, when something was off, the body made noise. Fatigue was obvious. Recovery was loud. Discomfort was hard to ignore. But that changes. After a certain point, the body becomes less interested in warning you and more interested in keeping you functional. So problems don't disappear. They get quieter. Energy doesn't collapse. It fades just enough to feel normal. Recovery still happens. It just takes longer than you remember. Nothing feels urgent. Nothing feels wrong enough to chase. That's why so many people say, "I'm not sick. I'm just tired." This is probably normal. Those statements sound reasonable. They usually are. And that's the problem. Because fine doesn't mean healthy. It often means the body has adapted to strain without interrupting your life. Much of that adaptation runs through hormones and metabolic signals quietly shifting in the background. This is where biology matters. The body is constantly adapting to stress. Physical stress, psychological stress, metabolic stress. When changes happen slowly, the body doesn't alarm. It compensates. Energy systems become less efficient, so output is preserved by narrowing the margin. You feel tired later instead of all day. Recovery systems lose speed, so repair doesn't stop. It stretches. You stay sore longer, stiff longer. Regulatory systems lose precision. Instead of sharp signals, the acceptable range widens. You feel okay instead of sharp, functional instead of resilient. Work still gets done, but you're more tired after a normal day. Workouts take more out of you. Small stresses feel heavier than they used to. None of this feels dramatic. That's the point. The body isn't designed to keep you informed. It's designed to keep you operational. And those are not the same thing. This is where the common explanation for aging quietly fails. Most people expect decline to feel obvious, a clear drop, a line being crossed. But what usually happens is a slow narrowing. Energy fades. Motivation softens. Recovery stretches. Nothing breaks. Nothing announces itself. People are still working, still exercising, still showing up. But something feels flatter, less responsive, less resilient. And because they're still functioning, they assume nothing is wrong. This is how adaptation hides dysfunction. Early problems come with clear signals: pain, sharp fatigue, obvious symptoms. But once the body adapts, those signals get dampened. The system learns how to operate under strain. And in doing so, it hides the strain. What once felt like a warning now feels like a baseline. So people arrive at a simple conclusion: this is just aging. This is how it's supposed to feel. Nothing is actually wrong. That conclusion feels reasonable. And it's where things quietly go wrong. Because the issue isn't weakness, and it isn't neglect. It's that the body has become very good at keeping problems quiet. Somewhere in your 30s and 40s, the body starts to prioritize stability over performance. Not because something is broken, but because survival favors consistency. Margins get tighter. Recovery buffers shrink. The system still works. It just works closer to its limits. And when you live near those limits long enough, that state starts to feel normal. So fine doesn't mean optimal. It means tolerated. It means the system has adjusted to something it would have flagged earlier in life. Most people don't wake up feeling unwell. They wake up functional. They can work, they can train, they can socialize, but effort costs more. Rest restores less, and resilience keeps narrowing. Because none of this crosses a clear line, it doesn't get labeled as a problem. And because it doesn't get labeled, It doesn't get questioned. The biggest misunderstanding is assuming signals get louder before they matter. In reality, many systems do the opposite. They get quieter. They trade sharp warnings for broad tolerance, especially in systems involved in energy, stress response, and recovery. Their job is to keep you going, not to interrupt your life. So when the signal fades, people assume the issue faded too. But often, the signal faded because the body learned how to cope. Gradual change is hard to perceive from the inside. There's no clear before and after, just a slow drift. Each year feels similar to the last. Each adjustment feels reasonable. By the time people notice something shifted, they can't point to when it happened. They just know they don't feel the way they remember. The belief was simple. Feeling fine means you're okay. Now it looks different. Feeling fine often means the body has learned how to function with less margin, fewer reserves, and quieter warning systems. Not because the problem was solved, but because the signal was smoothed. The most dangerous phase isn't breakdown. It's adaptation without awareness. Once you know that, fine becomes a reason to pay attention, not a reason to ignore the drift. Sometimes the most misleading sign isn't pain, it's silence.